In this video, I want to show you how to replace your fuel tank vent valve. It's located on top of the fuel tank, so we'll have to drop the tank. So let's get started. Now to take this fuel tank down, we're going to have to start by removing this shield here, which is not built into the fuel tank straps. Those are the fuel tank straps. These straps right here are actually part of this shield, and we'll have to take those down first. I have this transmission jack here on which I attached a fuel tank support, and I'm going to put just a little bit of pressure on this tank, well, not on the tank, on this shield, so that when I unbolt it, it can just rest on this, and then I can drop it down easily without it falling on my head or me having to support it by myself. So let's take the bolts down for the straps. There are several. I'm going to start with this one, which is next to the drive shaft on the front side. 10mm socket. Now at the back next to the muffler, there's another one. And on the outside, where the frame is, two more on the front side. And two more at the back. Now the shield is free, so let's lower it. Slowly go down with it. Perfect. If you're on the ground, you can just use one or two jacks and balance it. Just lower it slowly. It's not very heavy, but it's large, so make sure it clears the drive shaft. I'm going to lower it all the way down, take it off, and then we'll put the support back up here so we can lower this tank. Now with my support back underneath the tank, let's take the two 13mm bolts out that hold the straps onto the frame. They're only bolted on one side. On the other side, they're just hooked into the frame. I'll show you in a second. So for now, let's take these out. I sprayed them with rust penetrant, but they're still pretty rusty. Now to take the straps down, you can twist them out, slide them out from their slot in the frame. There you go. If you have a lot of rust buildup in there, go ahead and get that out of there. Do the same with the front strap. There you go. Let's disconnect the hoses off of the filler neck. To do that, you can use an 8mm socket, long extension, sneak up in here and just unscrew these clamps. Looks like this clamp is in poor condition and it's kind of rusted, so even though it does work, I'm most likely going to replace it. There we go. I'm also going to replace that one. Now we can pull these hoses off. Now I'm going to use a pry bar and gently push these hoses off. There's one. I'm just trying to break this one free for now. Okay, so it's kind of broken free. It can stay on for now. We'll pull it off as the tank gets dropped. Let's slowly lower the tank. It's probably on this bigger hose for the filler neck. Hopefully it'll let go. There we go. That just popped free. Continue going down very slowly. The fuel line and everything else is still attached there, connections. So don't go down too far, you don't want to break stuff. Now up top, at the top of the tank, we have to disconnect this vent hose here. I'm going to grab a pair of pliers and try to slide this clamp off of here. Get that off. You can grab the hose very gently, give it a twist to break it free, and then you can just slide it off of here, hopefully. There we go. We have another one of these clamps with a hose. This needs to come off. All right, and once that's slid off, break the hose free. There we go. You may have noticed the tank is removed from the vehicle here. You do not have to remove it. I only did for other reasons and so I can better show you what's happening. But you can totally do this with the tank still up there. Just lowered a little bit. You don't have to disconnect any fuel lines or anything like that. Now to replace this, we're going to grab a pair of pliers, twist it counterclockwise. This will unlock it. What you see here is not fuel. This is all rust penetrant that I sprayed, and I let it sit for about 5 minutes to hopefully prevent this from breaking. Okay, so this is twisted 90 degrees. So at this point, I'm going to take a little pry bar. You can use a screwdriver or whatever you have. Gently pry this up. So there's your breather. This is one of the two. There are two of them. The other one is right over here next to the fuel pump, and the procedure is exactly the same. I'm going to twist it, unlock it. Once it stops turning, you can gently pry it up. Pop it right out. As you can see, it's the same exact thing. And to install it, line up the slot, press it down, turn it 90 degrees, and as you can see, it's nice and locked in. Make sure it gets pressed on all the way, and then grab some pliers. Actually, I might be able to squeeze this by hand. There we go. I'm just going to push it back a little bit so I can push the hose on all the way. Make sure it has proper engagement here. That seems all right. Let's bring the clamp closer. Take the clamp and set it down on the hose here. Make sure it's not falling off the end of the hose. This one doesn't sit quite like I want it to, so I'm going to bring it back a little bit. Also make sure it's on the fitting. You don't want it to be off the fitting. This seems perfect right here, so let's do the other vent. Let's reconnect this vent. Slide the hose on. Make sure it goes on all the way. You don't want it to fall off, and you want it to be quite a bit in on this fitting. There we go. That's in all the way. So grab some pliers, and let's put this clamp back. Perfect. Let's continue bringing the tank up until it makes contact with the frame. Right there is perfect. I'm going to level this jack out. There we go. It's up against the frame. Everything looks good. It's time to put the straps up, past the tank like this. Obviously, if these are in poor condition, you'd want to replace them. Let's get the other strap in. Make sure it lines up with where it needs to go on the tank, which it does, so that's perfect. I'm going to start with this rearward strap because it lines up better than the other one. Once I have this one somewhat secured into place, I can go back and line up the other one. All right, I'm not going to fully tighten it yet. Let's go and line up the other one. That's tight. Perfect. I'm going to finish tightening this one by hand so I can actually feel how tight it's getting. Okay. That's nice and tight now. And now I can release pressure off of the fuel tank, and it is held on by the straps. Perfect. Now it's time to bring the shield up, so let's put it all the way up. I'm using my transmission jack with, again, the fuel tank adapter to do this. If you're on the ground, not on a lift, just try to line up the best you can. This one right here happens to line up perfectly on the first try, so I'm going to put the two bolts in. I'm not going to tighten any until they're all in, just because I need to be able to move this shield around, and if I tighten just one, it'll stop moving. So I'm going to leave it like this. We'll put the other ones in now. We'll move on to these other ones that go onto the frame. Okay, so these are all in on the frame side. Let's get the other two in, one next to each strap. Since I'm here, I'm going to start with this one. Now remove this support. So, like I mentioned, I have a new clamp. Try to position it in a way in which where it tightens, you can still access the adjustment, and also make sure that it's in between where the hose ends and where the filler neck ends. You don't want it close to either ends, otherwise it can risk popping off. Okay, a couple more cranks and that should be good. There we go. Grab this clamp and let's tighten this hose up as well. Nice and snug. Perfect.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.